Chapter 3. The Signal. As Sam finished explaining the functions of the little foreign life detector, it started buzzing to life again, just not as much and not as loud as before. Saberclaw, not willing to let the previous attack happen again, instinctively activated her blasters and started whirling from side to side as she tried to figure out where the attack would come from. Lila saw Saberclaw panicking and started shaking with fear. Sam put his hands up to try to comfort Saberclaw and spoke in a gentle but stern tone. "Saber, it's all right. The device isn't flashing very much. That means the signal is strong, but not very close." Saberclaw was still on edge, but felt more relaxed after his reassurance. "Well, we should go check it out," Lila exclaimed, recovering from fear, and skipped over to the large hole in the wall. Saberclaw followed Lila with caution. As soon as she peered out into the world outside, her jaw dropped. It was like a sea of color, more than she had ever seen. Trees towering out from the ground with crowns of yellow, red, and brown leaves waving their greetings to her. Saberclaw stepped out, mesmerized by it all. The green grass smelled of moisture and health as it brushed against her large metal boot armor. She could feel a cold, autumn breeze engulf her. Mountains sat peacefully behind the army of trees like they had seen centuries of life surround them. Birds soared overhead, their wings beating lightly as they harnessed the wind. In the distance, she could hear engines of cars roaring on asphalt roads. Sam looked up at Saberclaw's wide eyes and smiled. "This is the world you must protect, my Sentiron. If you don't, all of this will be gone." She looked down at him, then back at the scene of flourishing life and promised, "I will do anything to protect my home." Lila looked back, and her face twisted into determination with a side of annoyance. "What are we waiting for? The signal could be an alien." Sam looked up at Saberclaw and said, "She is right. The signal says it is a fairly weak alien, but still a threat. Basically, this will be great practice for you, Saber. I trust you know how to fight." Saberclaw stared at him. "Seriously, Sam? I literally have no idea how to fight. I haven't even walked that much so far." Sam smirked with a shimmer of pride in his eyes. "Oh, but you do. Do you see that tree over there?" He pointed to a large oak tree to the left of her. "I want you to treat it like that alien leader who attacked earlier." Saberclaw looked at the tree, then at Sam, then back at the tree. She pictured the alien's face, her smug expression, her anger-fueled eyes, everything about the extraterrestrial queen. Saberclaw was livid now. She didn't even need to tell her body to move. One moment she was picturing the tree as the alien, the next the tree was on the ground and in pieces. Saber's face was twisted with rage. She wasn't even satisfied with the mangled wood. She activated her weapons and fired multiple times. Now the wood was in shards, but it was black and smoking. Saberclaw had to think back to what she even did to dissect the tree. Apparently, she had ran with incredible speed at the large oak, jumped, kicked it to the ground, then blasted it with her blasters. She definitely knew how to fight. Saberclaw looked at her hands in disbelief. She knew she was dangerous, but not this dangerous. She looked back at the two humans. Sam Carolee was smiling from ear to ear with pride as he stared at the barely recognizable tree. Lila was absolutely shocked, but managed to control her facial expressions. "Yep, we're definitely going to take down whatever is causing that signal." Sam thought for a moment. Saberclaw was huge, and there was a commonly used road in between them and the signal. The ongoing cars would notice Saberclaw, and that wouldn't be good. How was he supposed to hide all 20 feet of her height? Then he remembered that she could turn into a human. They could just walk across the road. "So, when are we going to go?" Lila groaned as she rolled her eyes. "Wait, how am I going to get past that road?" Saberclaw inquired when she heard a loud engine in the direction of the road. "That's just it. Can you still turn into a human?" Sam asked Saberclaw. She looked at him with a mix of confusion, but then realized the reasoning behind his question. "Oh, yes." The same smoke from before appeared and surrounded her, but quickly disappeared, revealing Saberclaw's human form. Mr. Carolee was about to speak, but was interrupted by Lila. "Alea." Saberclaw turned to face her with a quick response. "Huh." She was confused by Lila's sudden shout. Lila continued. "That's going to be your human name? Saber. I mean Alea." The girl with the bright green eyes was still very puzzled. Why do I need a human name? She asked. Just in case, you know, like a secret identity thing. Lila exclaimed. Saberclaw, now Alea, looked at Sam with her bright green, human eyes. Sam shrugged in response to her. There was no convincing his daughter against this idea, so he just went along with it. Well then, Alea will be my human name, but only as a human, okay? Alea pointed at Lila, addressing her. Lila nodded enthusiastically. Now, can we go check out the signal? Lila said as she sighed dramatically. Alea and Sam looked at each other, smiled, then answered yes at the same time. The three humans had crossed the road, which was a struggle due to the traffic, and entered the forest that was on the other side of it. Mr. Caroly had also changed into an orange plaid shirt and deep blue jeans, so he wouldn't be walking around in a lab coat. They walked through the thick forest and came to a clearing. The clearing wasn't very large, but it was secluded from the rest of the world by the thick forest, so Alea turned back into Saberclaw. In front of them was a hill along with a large, skid mark-like formation carved into the ground in front of it that led into the mouth of a cave inside the hill. What in the world happened here? Saberclaw asked, in awe of the pool of oil-like liquid sitting still in the middle of the crevice. Wow, I don't know, but it looks messy, Lila trailed off while looking at the gash. It leads into that cave, Saberclaw observed. Looks like something crashed here. She looked at the trail of oil-like liquid, following it with her eyes into the cave. Fascinating. Sam stroked his chin with curiosity as he kneeled down to investigate the thick liquid substance. Lila looked into the cave as well. Its mouth was huge, large enough for Saberclaw to walk through without having to dodge the ceiling. So, where's the signal, Dad? Lila asked Sam. He took out his phone and opened an app that allowed him to track the signal. It says the signal center is inside this cave, and I know the cave system is simple. We won't have to worry about getting lost. Saberclaw's optics narrowed with a flicker of anger and determination. She wondered if whoever or whatever was inside the cave could lead her to the leader who attacked her and the humans earlier. She wanted to kill that female alien so badly it made her confused if she wanted the death for revenge or for the survival of her planet. The wind blew Lila's hair, making it move like waves, and whistled through the forest around them. Saberclaw felt the chill from this wind hit her wings. It refreshed her. She enjoyed this refreshment so much she spread her wings fully. The blue-green liquid she used for energy coursed through her wings and shone through the thinner sections of her wings. Saberclaw closed her optics and took in everything that was going on around her. She wanted to see if she could sense anything that would give her a clue to what she was up against. She listened closely to her surroundings. She could hear a woodpecker making a home in a pine tree in the distance. Thousands of birds singing to their partners. The faint rumble of tires on asphalt could be felt in the ground. She opened her eyes. This much fuel just lying on the ground means whatever was down in the cave didn't have much energy to burn. At least she got one thing out of the scene. All right, let's do this, Saberclaw declared as she folded her wings against her back again. She started walking toward the mouth of the cave. Lila and Sam looked up from their own thoughts and followed, trying to keep up with Saberclaw's rushed walk. They entered the cave. Not even 1 minute of wandering through cave tunnels was lit up by the sunlight outside. Soon after that, they were in pitch black. Saberclaw could still see faintly due to her heightened eyesight, but the humans were completely blinded, and they were not used to being blind. Saber, 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 Lila called frantically. Where are you? I can't see. She whipped around, waving her hand violently, trying to find a wall of something to guide her. Mr. Caroly was also stressed by the lack of visibility. He reached out to grab hold of his daughter. His hand grabbed air. Lila was right in front of him a couple seconds ago. Saber heard their cries, but they sounded farther away than she thought she was from them. She turned looking for Lila and Sam, but saw them searching for something to grasp, maybe 50 feet behind her. She ran full speed towards them, but regretted it. The rapid clanks from her footsteps spooked Lila into screaming. This made Saberclaw feel guilty for scaring her more. Saberclaw also wasn't running for very long. Her legs were long and fast enough to carry her at a run to the humans in a matter of seconds. She almost fell, trying to slow to a stop. Saberclaw dropped to one knee and gently grasped Lila with one hand and Sam with the other. "It's okay, guys. I was a lot farther ahead than I thought I was." Saberclaw's large, strong, but gentle and careful hands comforted the humans, and their heart rates slowed. "Sorry I got so scared, Saber. It's just, with recent events, I don't feel okay when I can't defend myself anymore," Lila said with a guilty tone. Saberclaw's face softened. "You have nothing to apologize for. As for the current situation, how about you two sit on my shoulders so we don't have to worry about getting separated? Sam, can you check if we are close to the signal?" Saberclaw asked as she lifted the humans to her shoulders. Lila sat on her right shoulder and Sam on her left. He was holding on for dear life. Sam took his phone out of his pocket and unlocked it. He clicked on an app that showed a series of tunnels in their area from an above X-ray angle. There was a little blue that was moving with Saberclaw's movements and a slightly larger green that pulsed only a few tunnels away. They walked through these tunnels with Saberclaw on high alert and the humans trying not to fall off of her. They came to a large cave at the end of one of the tunnels that had puddles of the same oil-like liquid that was outside the mouth of the cave everywhere. Saberclaw immediately got a sinking feeling as soon as they approached the large cave. Sam's eyes went wide while looking at the screen. The signal just spiked. "It is really strong here," he trailed off with caution. Saberclaw glanced at him for a split second, then turned her head just enough to see a dark and large shadow slam into her. She stumbled backwards, but the humans managed to hang on, barely. Saberclaw knew what this was. They were being ambushed. She immediately grabbed the terrified humans and whisked them onto a boulder that was beside her. She tried her best to locate the attacker, but it was simply too dark to see anything but a shadow. She was staring down the thing that had attacked her when something else hit her from behind. Saberclaw yelped in pain as she fell to the ground. Two attackers hitting her at once. This was going to be a very challenging battle for the green robot. However, she did not care about the odds. She was enraged. She whipped around and jumped a little. She managed to land on one of the attackers' backs. The shape of the ambusher felt sort of like her own. She felt wings, legs, and a neck that she could grab easily. Saberclaw wrapped her legs around the torso of her opponent and placed her elbow on the barely protected neck. Then, she used her other arm to grab its right arm, and she pulled with all the strength she had. The attacker cried out in pain and tried hard to throw her off, but Saber lifted herself over its head and skillfully dismounted it. She managed to see the ambusher grasp its arm and groan in pain. Its voice sounded feminine. Saberclaw sensed the second being rushing at her from behind and dodged. She felt the breeze of its speed as it barely missed her. It immediately recovered and attempted a right hook punch at her. It hit perfectly. Saberclaw felt a five-fingered metal fist collides with the left side of her face. The force of it knocked her backwards and sent her head almost 180 degrees to the right. She fell to the ground with a thud. Pain throbbed in her jaw. It felt like she had been hit by a truck, just with all the force concentrated to her face. She wanted to scream from the pain, but her mouth barely let out a pained groan. She wanted to get up, needed to get up, but the cave was spinning and she felt like every ounce of power in her was sucked out. Her body refused to let her even sit up. She saw the shadow that punched her loom over her. Was this it? Was this how she was going to die? Would they kill the humans once they finish her off? All of these questions were swirling through her head until they were all scattered by a shout from Sam. His phone's flashlight was turned on, and it was shining on the attackers. Saberclaw's vision was too blurry to see the details of their faces and bodies, but she could see their silhouettes and colors. There were two of them, and they looked almost identical to Saberclaw with 4 limbs and wings. They also appeared to be robots as well. One of them had almost the same body shape as her, but it was holding its arm like a newborn baby. It was also painted a shiny silver color. The second one, obviously the one who punched her because of the blue liquid on its knuckles, was very large. It was maybe 5 feet taller than the silver one and 4 feet taller than Saberclaw. It was very masculine looking and had black paint. No wonder its punch hurt so bad. Sam had yelled, "Stop! I am your creator, Sam Carrolley," at the two beings. Both stopped and turned to him. Recognition flashed across their faces. Saberclaw was confused. Did the punch mess up her hearing too? Sam had told her that he only made her, but that memory was very fuzzy. The silver robot lunged at him and yelled angrily, "You!" But the black robot grabbed it and held it back as it fought. Lila was frozen from the events and simply was too frightened to comprehend anything that was happening. Saberclaw was still confused, but her body had allowed her to finally stand and lean against the cave wall.